Alrighty, well, good night, or good evening, or good day, or good day, right? Is that your night? Anyway, I'm first time DM, and tonight we're going to have a special session. I actually missed Thursday night, fortunately, because I was exhausted. So I'm doing an extra one here, because I just want to keep in the habit. So we had concluded. Oh, again, I'm first time DM, and this is the first time I've DM'd Dungeon Mastered for the Dungeons and Dragons game, for an in-person game with 5 or 6 other people, depends. And like I said, I've never done a full campaign before. As a DM, I've done one-shots and so forth. And so we're now hip deep in Chapter 4, on the road, where the players are going north following the dragon cult to see where, and again, spoilers for any players or any of my players who intend to be players in Tyranny of Dragons, or Horde of the Dragon Queen, or the other one. So yeah, we had concluded the troll attack in the Troll Claw Hills on Friday, and went really well. One of the players in the first evening was killed. Not out of the game killed, but was downed. And although she was very quickly brought back to life, but you're like, oh, I got. It doesn't feel good, right? You have this power fantasy, and then you're dead. But her companions rose to the occasion and revived her within moments. So all the trolls were destroyed. There are very few goblins that remained fled eventually. Their leader was killed as well, who was hoping that banked his life on the fact that the trolls would hold the ground. And they didn't. I have to say, I felt the players were playing fair. I didn't feel that they were like, oh, here's my most overpowered stuff. I'm going to come at you with both. But, maybe at some point I want them to, right? But I felt that they were. I felt they were doing some clever moves, and because they realized that, in our melee fighter or monk quickly found out that direct contact was not going to work for her class, and she was knocked on her bones. Unfortunately, the young woman whose character that is, she wasn't able to attend the follow-up, so we really didn't see some of the aftermath of how she experienced that, right? Because you're unconscious right in the game, but you're essentially dead or dying, or potentially dead and dying, and is that easily forgotten, or does that have an impact on you? So, anyway, so that was going to be an interesting role play. But unfortunately, she wasn't able to attend that session, so we will never know. But she'll be back in action, I believe, quite confident. The Friday coming up. And so I think that was a big battle. That was a 2-session fight. We had never gone so late as we had played the first round. And I had no idea why we were so late. And I was happy with the combat. I was glad that they weren't all in the same place the whole time, right? Because, and this, I think, is something, if you're planning to do a battle that's more than just a dust up, right? Like a real protracted thing, hopefully a challenge, right? But definitely not your regular, encounter in one dungeon room, right? This is a multi whatever. And again, I just did the 2 layers of the trolls and the goblins. Although, well, that's not 100% true. I did have a 3rd tier of of the story of what was going on at that point, depending on how the players wanted to investigate. If they were like, trolls and goblins don't usually work together, unless there's something else orchestrating what's going on. And of course, I think that would be, that's not sort of where I'm taking the story per se, but they are certainly encountering these, folks. And if they go down a rabbit hole, given one of my scenarios that they take, what they might think was bait or something, or they were just actually just interested in something, they're like, oh, why are these guys working together? I wonder if there's somebody else pulling their strings. Because why are they attacking us? Why are they attacking us in an atypical way? And there is I'm sorry, I just want to look at the BlagothKus. So this is supposed to be like ribbon. Okay, so that's a ribbon. Okay. I'm just trying to determine what is his armor, what is not. So, okay, this ring, these rings around his hands are gold. Okay. So I'm working on gold, right? This is, let's see, BlagothKus. BlagothKus. The BlagothKus giant translates in common as the heretic. So BlagothKus. BlagothKus is not a name. It is let's say title, I guess. It's a moniker. It's a shame. It's like being put in the doghouse, but you're shameful. You're the you're tainted. You're the worst of the worst. You're worse than our enemies, our external enemies, right? You're worse than a dragon. Because why? Because he has conspired with the dragon cult to bring on a dragon resurgence, dragon destiny to rule Faerun. And for that, it's unforgivable. He's a race traitor, as it were, in the giant world. And he understands that, and he knew that what he was going to do was going to cause, and in fact, his name, his actual name, was so reviled, right? So reviled that literally no one in memory remembers what his name actually is. Only he knows his name, his actual name. He is singly known as the heretic. And again, BlagothKus means the heretic, not a heretic or heretic, the heretic, the race traitor, the dragon collaborator. He's a fool and a scum. Self-serving, should be killed by the dragons any minute now. So that's what other giants, and especially the cloud giants, that's what they think of him now. They certainly don't like to give him publicity for his shameful acts, but things like this get around, and he's sort of legendary, like other non-giants have no revile status for him. They don't care about him one way or the other, but for giants, he's a pariah. Let's see. So he had the gold trim everywhere. So let's do this. Oops, shoot. Sorry. I actually got just now a notice on my Etsy account. I'm selling right now. I'm selling a few things. I'm selling some terrain stuff and some 3D printed stuff. I won't be selling this guy. I don't know who holds the rights to this design. Somebody obviously, based it off of the drawing or painting of BlagothKus in the Tyranny of Dragons book. He has a stat block and a representation of what he looks like, painting of or drawing of some sort. And anyway, so this is the same pose as the drawing. Now, am I painting it the same colors? No. I think BlagothKus in the book, which you can see, yeah, there he is. So my palette is, well, he's blue and gold. My guy is going to go like more of like a purpley red and gold, right? Because here's the thing. This BlagothKus is working with the cult, right? So he's not necessarily going to be showing his BlagothKus, what do you say it? Colors, this cloud giant colors. I hope I've been painting this in a way you could see it. I'm sorry if sometimes I drift away from the camera, and I do apologize for that. That's why I've been trying to incorporate comments into this experience because, oh my God, last time I was streaming, I had all my cameras set up, but one with this camera with my lovely mug on it wasn't turned on. So, and I had tested it, I'd looked at it, I'd gotten it all done, but I must have hit something right before the went, or maybe it dropped out. I don't know, like that. I really haven't reviewed the tape, but excuse me. Anyway, the players faced off on the trolls and the goblins. They beat them with some good strategies, some teamwork. There's healing of others. One person dropped. Another, our fighter, was very low on HP, and he didn't even notice it because he was just fighting so hard. He's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I do. I do need healing," which was funny. And I wouldn't say that. I would say that maybe the challenge wasn't as great as maybe I thought it was going to be. I knew that I had the safety valve as far as I could get. I could always get the. I had the guards on each of the. Why am I going to do that? Well, I'm just going to make that all gold here. I see. Okay. I was just going to make the guards could always fight against the trolls too if they were, if it looked like there was going to be a TPK, which there never looked to be. Like that was never something I saw. So they put up a smart fight. Our monk got taken down pretty early. Of course, one of the trolls was also attacking the cult of the dragon. And when he stopped attacking the cult of the dragon, he started attacking a wagon. So he never, maybe a blow or two or something like that. I don't even think that, but maybe there was something of that nature in in the encounter. But really so it was 2 trolls that the players were primarily fighting. So that was sort of, something. And for a while, they weren't going down. They had that regeneration thing. I was trying to get them to something to get severed, and so what I had done was I'm like, well, let's go in here and get a bunch of damage. It'll get us bloodied. And that guy is using a sword, so he is slashing at me, right? They're using slashing damage. And I'm like, oh, well, slashing damage, say that 5 times fast, is combined with the bloodied condition for the troll will produce crawling claws, basically the severed parts of the troll. And so I was really trying to get that function to work, and I wanted to do the trigger, by the book. That's the way I wanted to run it. I wasn't really thinking about changing it. Maybe in retrospect, I would have considered it, but I wanted to see if I could do it. And lo and behold, I did trigger the feature. He got slashing damage, and he was also bloodied. Problem is, it wasn't his turn yet, and so he had to wait till his turn. And some other folks had a chance to do the same. And I believe there was some fire damage there because everyone was pretty. Oh, trolls need to be. You need to use fire on trolls, and so there might have been some meta action going on there. But I honestly, I think that's probably not me not being fair, because I think creatures in the world, travelers, trolls are not, unknown, right? And so I imagine that's something you might be grown up on, right? Of knowing trolls and fires, the old witch tales, right? Or witch stories or whatever it was, to scare the children to stay out of the forest, or you would be abducted, right? All those old scary stories. Sorry, I'm going to keep BlagothKus here. So anyway, so they dispatched there. It was a good battle. Everybody was moving around the battlefield. Some healing went on. There was some animals that got created. Help with the fight. They took some of the damage, not all the damage. Oh, is that going to be? See, now I'm seeing. Is that his muscle, or is that That's his muscle. Okay, I thought that might have been a piece of armor or something, but no. Actually, I want to get right. Am I on here? See, this is the thing. Sorry, I gotta realize where my cameras are, because I don't want to take away. I was gonna do this. Can I do it? You know what I'm gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. This is I've been playing with this. This up here is the metal like that, but I was playing with the back to be more of like a patent leather sort of a thing, but which I'm going to maintain, I believe, now that I double think it a little bit. I'm going to maintain the patent leather thing, but I'm going to, and I think it's probably cliche, but I'm a sucker for it. Just lining everything with gold and makes it look good. Like they're kicking ass in some way. And let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wrapped. That's not gold. Let's see, his leg is right. That's wra Yeah, I'm going to make this to be partially gold. I think I want that to match these rings. I'm going to make gold. As you can see, I didn't print this particular miniature. It was printed for me by a friend. I got the STL file and they printed it for me. This was before I had a printer. And again, this is a specific character in the book, Tyranny of Dragons. This is not someone I've created. It's definitely in the book. But I think his motivation in the book isn't really fleshed out, or I felt it. I wanted to flesh it out maybe differently or whatever. So he's definitely down to. And again, this is spoilers for anybody who might play Tyranny of Dragons. And again, it won't play it exactly out at your table because I'm taking some liberties here. But again, this is a character that is already in the adventure, and I wouldn't want to screw with your time, although I imagine your experience will be different than what I'm really talking about. But my BlagothKus, does he know about Tiamat? Does he know? See, again, in my game, there's more of... it is not openly known that Severin is talking about freeing Tiamat from the 9 hells. Tiamat has barely been mentioned. It was on a like a carving or like a mural. It was on a mural. And of course, one of the players sitting there goes, "Oh, they must want to free Tiamat from the 9 hells." And after just seeing, and it was a bunch of other dragons and other things, but yeah, they worship Tiamat. They're dragon cultists. And he's like, "Oh, they must be resurrecting him from the 9, or freeing him from the 9 hells." And I'm like, dude, that's meta. And I didn't say it to him at the time, just because I didn't want to say that at the table, because then if I say it's meta, then everybody knows it's true. And I didn't look at him. I just let him do his thing. And so his theory was no more valid necessarily from anyone else. And so I have been making sort of the true Severin's true desires cryptic and unknown, and part of the mission for the party. Now, what is the reality? Is the reality of what's in the book? Or is it going to play out differently? Is Severin really trying to bring Tiamat from the 9 hells? Like is that going to work out for him? What's the upside of bringing, this cruel, cruel creature? God, really, right? At least a demigod see, I keep doing that. I'm so sorry. Demigod, at least, if you believe the stories, right? So there you go. Another round. Anyway, sorry. So I may or may not keep that as what's going on. Maybe some people believe it's going to happen, and maybe other people believe it's not going to happen. Some people might say that's our end, and another person might say, well, that is what we're telling, that's our story, but this is what's really going on. This is our real intention. And to be honest with you, because there is that sort of meta aspect to this, because at least some of the players have, whether, by happenstance or whatever, because again, the game as written really doesn't make this, you really get to learn it pretty early on. And so I'm making something that really wasn't a secret. So it would be very easy for them to read something very otherwise tame or not really spoilery about this encounter and go, oh, it's this, it's that. And so I don't know. I usually I mean, I have like a few different endings type of thing, like the different ways it could end. Because I want to stick to landing. Um, but God, that his the rope linens here are really cool. I got to be careful when I do that. So what I'm going to try now here. So I think well, I guess there's more gold to be done, right? Should I just do more of the gold? Because I was going to say I'm going to take a break on the gold. But I really don't want to, because the gold as I apply it is going to go some places I don't want it to go. And so I'm going to have to cover that up with something. So I don't really want to progress past the gold back into the capes, unless when I do that, then I'm not going to be screwed over by the gold again. So I think I should finish my gold. My gold is getting like it needs to be refreshed, so maybe that will be an ending to everything. I don't know. Perhaps it's the end of the world as we know it. So this model to me is sort of a little inconsistent with some of its design. I wouldn't say it's the best model in the world, although I think they did do a very nice job recreating it. It's really exact in a lot of ways. It's just some of the, I don't know, just some of the cloth is a little weird. Okay, so this is only on the bottom. So I'm just going to do, I think I got to get a little more. The glue I used on BlagothKus onto that jar, that's still drying, so I really have to be very careful that I don't screw that up. But let's see, so I'm going to make some, let's see, oh, guys, skibbity-doo. All right, so I'm not sure what this design is going to be, but it's going to have some gold on it. Okay. Okay. Oh, this. So we're just doing this. Oh, okay. Okay. So, okay. Again, a lot of people say if you don't see it, don't paint it. And I agree with that to an extent. But I also like detail, right? So there's sometimes there's texture depicting where the gold should be, and sometimes there isn't. And I wish there always was, and I wish that was all consistent. So that's the thing I don't love about this model. But generally, I think it's a really nicely done one. It was very nicely printed. I believe he printed two for me. The first one, which I have somewhere around here, he was a little deformed, The print wasn't 100% successful, so this guy, he got a very nice print. This was the thing I wasn't really looking out for in the beginning, but it's really caused me to change my resin. Is I go for the I have an Anycubic mono printer, and right now I'm just using the tough resin. I just want it to be tough, and I'll do a nice slow print. As few of the little dots as possible, and really make it as strong and durable as possible, right? Sort of the name of the game, I think. I'm trying to use less here. I'm trying to not dry brush this per se, but I don't need it to be super thick, but I just need it to have that nice gold flicky look. I'd like to keep some of the shadow from the little details where we have them. But I think I'm already going to have to go over it with a dark wash of some sort, so that hopefully that detail will reemerge when that happens. Yeah, so anyway, so they're finishing the troll encounter, and it'll be basically a talkie-talkie thing, because the Cult of the Dragon, when they were facing a singular troll coming at them, they did not engage at all with the goblins. At some point, were fearful. They lost several men in that interlude, and I think they were scared for their lives, and so at some point they beckoned the party to come assist them as they vanquish the threats. Still being sort of high and mighty about it, but really thinking like, oh shit, we might be fucking killed here. and initially in the first round, and this I think was led by Scott, our player who's actually moved away. Cat, don't do that. And he was really the one that said, screw them. They were standoffish, let them die. Which is okay for them to do. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I had wanted to give them an opportunity to really do some spying. Like, oh, maybe get taken in by the cult. How would that look for them to become maybe even, junior members of the cult? Because at this point, the people in this caravan, except for a very select one or two, really, couldn't recognize these guys from a hole in the wall. So they could infiltrate the cult. They could just follow the cult. They don't need to infiltrate. They sort of see where they're going, and as long as they keep their eye on the ball, they will be able to see where the hoard of gold is going, and along that route, suss out clues, right? Okay. But in the second session, Dalmora, our good-natured cleric, dwarf, elderly dwarf, even elderly for dwarf standards, right? Because they have a longer lifetime than humans in the Forgotten Realms setting. Anyway, she went over, helped them out. She did some spells, and she conjured a beast of some sort, as I recall. I think she had done a giant hog earlier, And this was, I forget what it was, some sort of creature. Could have been the lion. Could have been the lion again. I seem to remember handing out a lion figure, which I keep with my regular stuff now, just in case they turn into an animal. I don't have all the animals. Actually, the player who's leaving had ordered all of the different animals he as a druid could turn into on Etsy, but I don't know if they ever arrived, or if they did, I don't know if he painted them. So let's see, what is his... I'm going to make these gold here. So you never know how it's going to go, and I am not going to railroad these folks. If I give opportunities, I try to make it clear that, that there's, like, at some point I'm like, the cult needs to ask for help. And so that will trigger the players to come to, that conclusion. Oh, maybe if we help them, we could get in good with them. And that was one of the players. That was his immediate reaction. It's like, oh, here's the little comment or story bit or NPC comment that makes us know that might be a possibility to woo them, to get to infiltrate fully the cult, I guess I'm trying to say. And like I said, the druid decided, no, let's screw them. But I'm thankful that some of the players decided to help the culters and saunter up to him. And where we left the end of the session really was just right at the end of the combat. So the players and the cultists really don't, or haven't had, that conversation yet to see, how appreciative they were of the help, if they were appreciative at all. And could it lead to, infiltrating the cult in that way? I think all of those questions are up in the air and could go all sorts of different ways, right? It could be that the cultists invite them to join. But maybe some are suspicious of these, folks that out of the blue are such followers. Maybe some say they're just probably drug addicts. They're probably severance drug addicts. Right? Because maybe they know a little bit more than they're supposed to know. Maybe they're a little bit loose with their tongue. And maybe some of what they say is wrong, right? Maybe it isn't exactly that way. That's just the way he heard it. And he heard it 10th hand, and by the time it's 10th hand, it might not be a reliable information. So all of these things are true or not true, or possibilities. And we'll see what the reality is and how the party responds. And I think right here, yeah, I got to do a little more here. And so will it go well or will it not go well? And again, that the train goes on, but the train to Waterdeep will continue. But when they get there, have they made it easier? Have they made it harder on themselves? Again, I'm not sure. I don't know what they've done, and they're infiltrating a highly suspicious organization, right? I'm probably gonna put a little bit. Just gonna try to hit the recesses a little bit more than get everywhere. I think it's too purple. But again, I want this guy. He's not an actual wearer of the purple. He has not been granted the status to wear purple. He's really not even a cultist, right? The cultists are not going to make a giant a full-on member. That would be a bridge too far. But they will use him, and they believe in his sincerity. And again, magic isn't going to be able to suss that out necessarily, because perhaps he does believe it. And maybe, but maybe the motivation is different. And that's sort of what is his motivation? Why does he want to bring about the dragon apocalypse? Well, for me, and at least right now, my answer to that is he believes that the giants will never reassert themselves. They will never challenge the dragons again because they are weak. And he believes they are weak. BlagothKus, that is. He believes they're weak, but he also believes that they're strong. And he believes that they will rise and meet the dragon apocalypse with hellfire and fury. But the only way to get them to have that response is to begin the dragon apocalypse. So, is he pro-dragon? Absolutely not. Does he pro-dragon starting the dragon giant Faerun Civil War? Well, he's down with that. Because without that nudge, you could say, the giants will disappear into the forgotten lore of the realms as they retreat further and further. Into the forgotten histories of the Forgotten Realms. So, It's like the Jews need to be in Israel. All the Jews need to be in Israel. So was it the resurrection or whatever, the return of Jesus? Of course, all the Jews need to die there in Israel when that happens. One fell swoop kill the Jews. So the evangelical Christians are big Israel supporters because we got to get all the Jews there if we want the apocalypse to happen. And just the side effect is all the Jews get killed. But they wanted to be there, and we helped them. And this is a sick alliance. This is the definition of a fucking sick alliance. See, I don't think I'm going to put the wash on the inside there, but I'm going to put it here. I do like this a lot. I think that might be where I'm stopping for the night. Definitely not finished, but I just wanted to test that, and I have been loving it. The whole hole right there. But I do want to finish that looks great. We're going to have to work on that, but I love the cape. The cape can get better, but I like where it's going. BlagothKus. Yeah, he looks good. What's funny, it's sort of mirrored. No, the right foot, that's right. That's right. But this got switched. Here's the bracelets. See, this arm bracelets here, yes, but the one up here, no. That one, yeah, but it's a double now. They moved that one over here. Okay. Fuck it. I broke it so many times. What are we going to do? I'm glitzing it up a little bit. Do some of that. I may probably make that and that work together. But gotta work on a skin color. I think that'll be sort of a pale purple. Maybe more pale than this. Maybe that'll be a little in the recession. Oh, man. What the hell is that? Anyway. Sorry if I keep drifting here. I don't have my target. Okay. I think he's looking good. I think that's looking nice. Needs some balance yet. Needs some work, but I think it's nicely animated with the flow. I think I just would have liked more consistent texture and a little bit of a decision on this, what that was going to be. If they textured it all the way here, that would have been nice. And here, it would have been nice if there was texture there. But again, you could compensate for all that. He looks good. I'm very happy with him. He looks much better than I thought he was going to look, honestly. And I'm glad I'm not doing the blue. I like the purple. I want to sell him as a Cult of the Dragon purpley guy. So he is working against the cult. He wants the cult to be as weak as possible but still achieve their goal. Which, again, he doesn't really believe it's Tiamat, but he believes they're organizing the dragons, which in some ways they are, but they are because of the because of the threat of Tiamat. Like, they're not quite sure what to make of these guys. And quite frankly, I don't think they really want Tiamat around anyway. Tiamat's a bit of a pill. Let's see. So I really, that's sort of one of the themes I want for the campaign. It's sort of an intrigue of, is this what he's doing? Is this not what he's doing? And I really, allowing for player agency and for players to direct how things play out in the future, right? Like, me as DM, I could tell you what happened in the past. I could tell you, if I was so inclined, I have the information to do this. So, what has happened? Who has done it? I know to some extent why they did it, because I don't like just random violence. I like intentional violence in this particular campaign, most of the time. But I think there will be some player agency as far as how they engage it. And if they don't engage it at all and they're not interesting, I might just run it by the book and be done with it. You don't necessarily want to make it more fancy than it needs to be. But if there is some interest in maybe a deeper conspiracy or something, then I might want to make room for that as well. Not sure. I think I might actually add a blue. Let me see, because I think it's too poppy. I don't know. It doesn't. Does it not match? Maybe it might not match. I don't know. Here. This is a pretty new color for me. It's the really dark shade and pretty thin. And I've found it helpful in replacing Nuln oil as my finishing shade of choice, because it fits in those dark recesses, and it's often a great effect. But it's not black, it's blue. It's very dark navy blue, but it does a lot of nice things, and it really does it, pretty easily. You just go in and put it in, and a wash is wash, And again, I think this will give me a deeper purple. Different. I want it to be different. I don't want them to be all the same color. But I do want him to be loud and proud. Let's see, should I do a little of that? Here, oh, this might be interesting. Oh, see, again, I'm doing it again. So sorry. Gotta focus, right? I like that because, again, it covers up the black. Integrates nicely with the gold. It makes it look a little sharper. We are going to have to do another layer of gold, not tonight, but maybe two, because this gold, maybe one more layer of the same color. Maybe dry brush, definitely. This time, definitely dry brush. And then there's that other really atsy gold. That'll make it, give that lustery, shiny look. Yeah, I like that. I like that better than the black being in the recesses. So let's see. Okay, so this tells me don't go too crazy. I don't want to take out too much of the gold. I do want some of the did I do it again? I did it again. I do want some of the detail to go in there, right? And these washes are a nice way to show more detail. Gives an opportunity sometimes also for another wash of some sort. Or then maybe another dry brush and give it another chance to really bring out all the base features of the model. And then this helmet, actually, I like this helmet. I just don't want to use too much here because I do think I don't want to cover up the gold too much, even though we're going to get another brushing on it. So really, yeah, this is the wash we're going to basically use on this gold. And then yeah. This is giving another round of detail. This glue is not good. I'm just all out of my super glue, so I'm slumming here with model glue. Again, giving another shot to any detail. Even here, give it a sense that there is some sort of detail there. Definitely here. And another chance to get either detail in or the appearance of detail, right? Suggestion of whatever detail the model might lack. Right? Because, we don't want to be afraid of that either. I like some drama in my paintings. I have to tell you, I'm exceptionally happy with how this guy's coming out. I'm actually going to do the blue wash now on his skin I'm liking it so much. Get rid of all the basically black, cover all the black with this blue. And then I'm going to come back with a dry brush just on the skin. Just on the skin. So it'll give it a nice deep blue as the deepest color on the skin. I'll bring some more details out with a dry brush. And then I could hinge it with some other lighter blues. But maintain a nice deep color that quite frankly is not black. It's technically blue. And I think when coming in there with a smaller dry brush, bigger, smaller than what I had used before, I think we're going to be really happy how he has a nice bluish tinge himself. You could see he got some red on this arm here, so a little extra dry brush, maybe an extra little bit of blue, and then a little more dry brush just to balance everything out. But I can't tell you how much I love this this new blue shade. That's the Drakenhof Nightshade. For those interested of the Citadel paints. And again, I'm going to put the blue even between some of the jewelry here. Again, just black is so black, We're making a decision. Oops. Not to go black. Go blue. Blue hue. Bring some whites in. Some other hues of blue. Lighter hues of blue. But keep it milky in the end. Maybe bring out some more of the detail out in the chest piece. And fine-tune the cape. I think we're in a really good place, but there's a little too much going on. I gotta meld it out a little bit, mellow it out, I think, a little bit, and even it up a bit and figure out where my color is. But I'm very happy with the first incarnation with those colors, which we didn't know we're going to work or not. I believe they do. And so really just a generous amount of this blue in the recesses, because again, I know now I'm going to come across with another dry brush to whiten them up. We'll bloom up. And then, again, and then see where we are with the color. But, so we're very happy with this guy. I was sort of avoiding painting him for a long time because I didn't really know what I wanted him to do other than go, yeah, I don't know, the dragon. But now he's going to show up earlier in some form. Maybe not physically, but he's going to play a greater role than before we get to his castle. We're going to learn about castles in the sky. Maybe they've seen. That's a good boss. Will he work with them? Will he try to kill them? Maybe. God, that's so crooked. I had it, even after I broke it a couple times, I had it good, but then I broke it again. And now it's never going to break again, right? And he just likes it to have a little bit of a tip to it. Hopefully no one at the table will notice, but I think he's looking very good. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm doing it again. I think he looks very nice. Right? Do they have teeth? They sometimes have. Is that those teeth going up? No, that's part of his face. So, well, I'll leave it be. Let's get everybody out of here that we can. Okay, and this guy, he's in the penitentiary. All right, what time is it? Oh, Jesus, it's way too late. All right, I gotta go. Have a good night, BlagothKus. His motivations, the end of the Troll War, and how do the players get even deeper into the cult if they are able to pass themselves off as helpers in the troll attack. All right, good night. May all your